Type 2 diabetes symptoms. Diabetes warning signs. Type 2 diabetes symptoms worth knowing. Any of the following warning signs could be one of the type 2 diabetes symptoms. You could experience one or more of the following diabetes signs or symptoms, or you may not experience any early symptoms at all. A great number of folks never experience any symptoms of type 2 diabetes and are surprised when they are diagnosed by a routine blood test during an annual physical. Type 2 diabetes symptoms can be rather vague, such as being more tired than usual, or always feeling hungry between meals and craving sweets for a pick-me-up. These diabetes symptoms could be written off as stress or blamed on a demanding job. These early diabetes symptoms attributed to diabetes are more constant and pronounced than merely reaching for a couple of cookies occasionally between meals or being tired after a hard day. 10 Type 2 Diabetes Symptoms Checklist. Increased hunger and craving sweets. Extreme thirst. Frequent urination. Weight gain. Fatigue and drowsiness. Blurry vision. Slow healing wounds, sores, or bruises. Dry, itchy skin. Tingling or numbness in the hands or feet. Frequent or recurring skin, gum, bladder, or yeast infections. One of the specific symptoms of type 2 diabetes is having patches of dark, velvety skin in the folds and creases of their bodies, usually in the neck or armpits. This condition, called acanthosis nigricans, may be a sign of insulin resistance. Type 2 diabetes rates are growing dramatically in the United States and Western Europe. Type 2 diabetes is a slow progressing disease that begins a long time before the actual diabetes diagnosis. Type 2 is the result of the muscles and other tissues of the body developing a resistance to insulin produced by the pancreas. Initially, the pancreas tries to overcome this resistance to insulin by making more insulin. The blood sugar level goes up as a patient's body is no longer able to make enough insulin to counterreact the gradually increasing insulin resistance. This form of disease generally strikes the over 45 age group, although younger ages can be affected. In comparison, type 1 diabetes results from an autoimmune reaction in which one's own body attacks and destroys the beta cells of the pancreas. These are the cells that normally produce insulin. Type 1 diabetes is a disease in which the patient, in a relatively short time, has no insulin production. Since type 1 diabetes often strikes children, this form of disease is commonly referred to as insulin-dependent or juvenile diabetes. How develop type 2 diabetes symptoms? Keep in mind, type 2 diabetes symptoms develop slowly and are usually produced by weight gain, especially in the abdominal region. Think apple-shaped body. Obesity and lack of exercise are closely linked to type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is generally preventable. If you are over 45, have an apple-shaped body, and have a family history of diabetes, talk to your doctor about proper diet, weight loss, and an appropriate exercise program. Taking preventative action can help you avoid type 2 diabetes symptoms.
For the latest news and tips to keep you in control of your health, visit our website at early-diabetes-symptoms.com, where we have free access to our website with all the videos in this series, recipe ebooks with thousands of diabetic recipes, and weekly health tips and the latest information on healthy living. Visit early-diabetes-symptoms.com.
Type 2 diabetes signs and symptoms. Always hungry and craving for sweets. Type 2 diabetes signs and symptoms are warning flags that blood sugar regulation is not working as it should. The diabetes excessive hunger symptom could come with increased hunger or craving sweet foods. These are common signs that we need to pay attention to. Diabetes excessive hunger is one of the 10 type 2 diabetes signs and symptoms. Many people experience a blood sugar roller coaster that is aggravated by a high-carb diet that includes refined sugars and highly processed foods. Low energy can create a craving for sweets to give a quick energy lift. The problem is that within a short time your blood sugar crashes, leaving you wanting more food. This cycle of increased hunger and craving for sweets typically leads to weight gain, and the early diabetes excessive hunger symptom can end in a diagnosis of being diabetic. Now, some people might blame this behavior on lack of self-control, when it is often one of the type 2 diabetes signs and symptoms. The food you eat is typically converted into glucose, which is then carried by the blood to the cells in our body. The pancreas produces the hormone called insulin to help cells convert glucose into energy. If the cells can't use the insulin properly, the glucose builds up in the bloodstream, resulting in high blood sugar. But the cells are still starved for energy. This blood sugar roller coaster is racing along with the type 2 signs and symptoms, and if the direction isn't changed, is destined to crash. Type 2 diabetes results when the muscles and other tissues of the body develop a resistance to insulin produced by the pancreas. Initially, the pancreas tries to overcome this resistance to insulin by making more insulin. The blood sugar goes up as your body is no longer able to make enough insulin to counteract the gradually increasing insulin resistance. This form of disease generally strikes the over 45 age group, although younger ages can be affected. Refined sugar products like candy, cake, and donuts are a tempting snack when you have the type 2 diabetes signs and symptoms that cause increased hunger and a craving for sweets. Other foods that are not considered sugary can also cause a rapid rise in blood sugar. This includes refined foods high in carbohydrates like potato chips, crackers, and even diet soft drinks. These foods only satisfy the cravings you feel, but don't deliver the nutrition you need. The result of all this snacking is typically weight gain, leading to obesity. Some people think that sugar substitutes are the answer, not realizing that if it tastes sweet, your body thinks it's getting sugar and the insulin response is triggered. The real answer to satisfying the food craving is eating foods high in protein and nutrition. Cutting back on carbs is an important component in preventing and managing diabetes. Lowering carb intake and sticking to whole, natural foods can help you lose weight and help you stabilize blood sugar levels. A diet of healthy foods high in protein and nutrients is a good strategy if you are dealing with diabetes excessive hunger as one of the 10 type 2 diabetes signs and symptoms. Other hidden type 2 signs can include excessive thirst, frequent urination, weight gain, fatigue, blurry vision, slow healing sores or dry itchy skin, frequent infections, and numbness and tingling in the hands and feet.
Diabetes is fast reaching epidemic proportions worldwide, and shockingly, nearly 30% of the people who have high blood sugar aren't even aware of it. That's millions of people who are like ticking time bombs. But the good news is, few serious diseases allow you to fight back as much as diabetes does. How do you score when it comes to your knowledge about diabetes and thus your ability to fight back? Take our free quiz and receive 5 free reports on how to drive diabetes into retreat. Life-saving information is just a click away.